How you doing, guys? It's been a while since I was able to give you a status update on the Panzer, and as you can see, a bunch of progress has transpired over the course of the last couple weeks. I've had a lot of family obligations, a lot of work obligations, but I've been getting out to the garage and just kind of picking at this tractor, an hour here, 2 hours there, and as you can tell, it's pretty much the basic tractor is all put back together. Everything that I've wanted to do to the tractor itself is back. The whole lift that I made is in place and looks real good. I did put the toolbox on it. That's not original for a T50. That came on later tractors. One of the other things I did is I put the lift system all back together. I actually got this thing to work real good. I mean, that's almost like brand new. The other thing I did is I worked on the speed selector, got the appropriate spring. I mean, that thing locks in real good, so I'm real happy with that. The other thing I did was I put the gas tank in. I like the gas tank all patinaed up, so I just cleared it. One of the cool things was after I cleaned it, an old Clinton decal was still in place, and people say that, you know, Panzer tanks are hard to find. They just use Clinton tanks. So you find an old Clinton 1290 or 1200, this was the tank that came on those at that time period. The straps, they're in place. Everything is good there. If you remember from one of my first videos, this had all that slop in it. You can see all the slop is gone. The arm is in place. Steering wheel, I mean, the steering is completely, the steering is completely fixed and nice and tight and should ride real good. So I'm real happy with it. It's really coming out real nice. It's going to be a nice driving Panzer T50. Something you don't see every day. One of the other things I've been working on is the motor. Went through this motor, just basically refurb. I got it from an RJ58. It's an A1200. It's, by the serial number, it's the proper date code for a 58, which from what I can see, that Panzer is a 1958. So this engine is quite, you know, almost correct for this motor. Now I got this from an RJ58. From the owner that I got it from indicated that the motor was just rebuilt. And as always, as you well know, that doesn't mean anything. But I sold the tractor and I kept the motor under the pretense that it had been rebuilt. But lo and behold, the original hone, or I shouldn't say original, but the rebuild hone, sorry about my camera, it's still there. This engine has not been run that much, and it's nice and tight. I mean, it feels good. Valves, real nice shape. The one thing I did do to this motor, or the couple things I'm doing to the motor, it did originally have a Type 1 ignition with a Clinton style set of points. Perfectly good ignition, absolutely nothing wrong with it, but I did swap out for a Type 2 ignition, which uses a Tecumseh setup. So brand new points, Clinton, or Tecumseh H60 points, which I think is the same as the H55, but H60 points, Clinton condenser, and then a replacement coil for a Kohler K90. It's just a good little setup, and it works. And then I had to put a brand new ignition wire on it because a mouse basically just ate the ignition wire in half. So I think I even threw it out. But and then the other thing too, wired it for the kill switch. So motor's all set to go. I totally cleaned it, and I regasketed the oil pan. I also regasketed and actually put an NOS and regasketed the breather. One of the things I had to do is this governor arm was a little worn out, so I had to make a little shim and stick it in there. But at this point in time, everything is set to go. The other thing I worked on is I glass beaded the starter cup and the screen. That's all set to go. Glass beaded the air filter neck, that's ready to go. Glass beaded flywheel, it's all clean, ready to go. Magnet, it's nice and strong, so that's just going to get bolted on. One of the other things I did too is this is actually, I should let you know that there's the original head, the 1200 head. This is off a 900 series Clinton motor, and the reason why I use the 900 series heads is because they have smaller combustion chambers. Gives you a little bit more compression and a little bit, actually, not huge horsepower or anything to that effect, but you definitely get a little bit more oomph out of the motor. As you can tell, I polished the inside of the head, just hit it with some 320, then 800, and then just sanded it to 1000 grit, then just used some mother's polish and just polished the head. Next thing I did is I put it on my surface plate and just lightly sanded it down to make sure that it's nice and flat until I get a nice uniform fit. Everything's all set on that. Got some brand new head bolts, and there you go. So that's that. And the new head bolts are right here. So hopefully, over the course, it's going to be Memorial Day weekend coming up, and got some time off, obviously, from work. It is going to be my birthday, but I'm hoping to have this pretty much all back together and in running condition this weekend. So maybe by the end of the weekend, middle of next week, I'll have a video of this guy running around the yard. All right, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate all the interest, and you guys have a good day.